Hi everyone. All right, we're back with today's video, continuing with Algebra 1. We are working on solving equations involving absolute value. And this is number 52. This says solve each equation and then graph the solution set. Okay, so, excuse me. So, in doing this, right? This is still, we're dealing with absolute values, but now we're solving an equation instead of plugging something into an expression. So this is a bit different. Remember how in the beginning I said that absolute value, right? If you do a negative or a positive, the answer is always positive, right? So like the absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is also 4. So do you see how there's two cases there, basically? So we have to do that. So when you're solving an absolute value equation, you have to make sure, first of all, the absolute value is by itself, meaning there's no multiplication on the outside, or an addition, or subtraction, or division on the outside, or maybe even a squaring on the outside, or a square root. There's nothing on the outside of this absolute value, so I'm ready to separate it into two cases. If there was something, then I would need to remove that, right? So do the opposite to both sides so that I isolate the absolute value. Okay, here we go. Here are my two cases. And what you do is you drop the absolute value and write the two cases out. So, case 1. We have negative 4w plus 2 equals 14. All right, so that's case 1. Now, case 2 is going to be slightly different, and you're about to see right now. Negative 4w plus 2, but this time you set it equal to negative 14. And then you solve for both, and you will have a solution set, meaning you'll have two answers. Both of them will work. So in algebra, we always do the opposite of what's happening, right? So we have a minus 2, a minus 2. We have negative 4w, that cancels out, equals 12. I divide by negative 4, right? Because it's negative 4 times w, divide by negative 4, cancels out. That is w equals 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. There's one of my solutions. Over here, same deal, subtract 2 on both sides. We have negative 4w equals negative 14, I borrowed $14. Negative 2, I borrowed $2, so that means I borrowed $16. Then we do the opposite, negative 4 times w, so the opposite is divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, and we have w equals a negative divided by negative is a positive, so 4. Okay, so here's the solution set. Negative 3, comma 4. Okay. And then they ask you to graph that. They just want it on a number line. So go like this. We have our 0. And then we can just put in our negative 3 and our 4 and put dots like this. Okay. So that's how you do that. Remember, we have two answers. They both work. And if you wanted to check them, right, you could plug them back into the original. Negative 4 times negative 3, that's positive 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. The absolute value of 14 is 14. And then if I plugged in 4, it would say negative 4 times 4, which would be negative 16, plus 2 would be negative 14. The absolute value of negative 14 is 14. All right, so we got it right. Cool. Let's do one more and then we'll wrap this up. So, little separation line here. All right, so now we got some fractions. So let's rock and roll. Again, on the outside of the absolute value, to the left or right, there isn't a multiplication or a division or an addition or a subtraction or a squaring or a square rooting. So we're good to start with our two cases. Case 1. Oops. Okay, so we have 2b over 3 plus 8 equals 20. All right, since I'm kind of running out of room here, let's just solve this one. So here's case 1. We subtract the 8, 2b divided by 3, that cancels out, equals 12. Now we have to do the opposite on both sides. Well, this is divided by 3, so the opposite of that is times 3, right? So we got a times 3, we have a times 3, cancels out, we have 2b equals 36. Opposite of that would be divide by 2, cancels out, b equals 18. Okay, so let's dive into case 2. Case 2. All right, so we have 2b over 3 plus 8 equals negative 20. Subtract 8, cancels out. 2b over 3 equals negative 28. All right, now I'm going to do this part just slightly different because I just want to show you a different way. This is actually 2/3 times b, right? Instead of saying 2b, like 2 times b divided by 3, I could just say 2/3 times b. So the opposite of that would actually be to multiply by 3/2 on both sides. So this is, again, the same thing I just did earlier, just in one step instead of 2. So we have 3 divided by 3 cancels out, and 2 divided by 2 cancels out. B is left alone. And then I have negative 28 divided by 2. So that's negative 14. And then negative 14 times 3, that's negative 42. Okay, so then we have our solution set, right, which is 18. Let's put the negative first. So negative 42 and 18. And then we have to graph it. Again, I always would suggest that you put the 0 and then you put just the numbers that you're looking for, because then we know, that you understand what a number line is, right? Negatives on the left, 0 in the middle, positives on the right. Okay, so we got our negative 42 way over here, and we have our positive 18 way over here, and then we just put the filled in circle. And that is it. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.